July 11th is a day when Bosnian Muslim people remember killing and genocide on Bosnian people in Srebrenica and Bosnia and Herzegovina. July 11th was a day when the earth was quiet. I call this moment historical, and it should be held as such. History is important to all of us. We need to remain with each other about July 11th and genocide because of life in future. We are here and we are grateful to the entire community of the city of Carlisle for the support they have given us in this period. I thank you on my behalf and on the behalf of the entire community of Bosniaks. It doesn't matter what tradition you come from, what religion you have, what culture we're brought up in. All you have to do is to be a human being before anything else.
Even though I teach these events at Dickinson College in the history department, I still cannot imagine what it must feel like each and every year to relive this anniversary and what it means. I salute the survivors among us who still live with the scars, physical and emotional, of the most heinous event in Europe since the Holocaust. And I stand here today to acknowledge your friends and family members, more than 8,000 innocent civilians, boys and men, slaughtered in the course of only hours in July 1995. I also want to acknowledge the boys and girls, men and women who suffered humiliation, theft, beatings, rape, and murder during the course of the Bosnian War, often by the neighbors with whom they had lived for decades.
Our nearby city of Lancaster has been given an unofficial title of America's refugee capital, and although Carlisle doesn't have the same numbers, our town and many others across the Cumberland Valley have been home for 1,500 Bosnian families. Over the past 25 years, these incredibly resilient people have planted roots here, made connections, built businesses, and made Carlisle a better place to live just by sharing our space. But they've done much more than that. Although it should be our responsibility to learn about the history, culture, and experiences of our neighbors, you are all such kind and generous people who have continually invited us into your spaces and created events just to share your world with us. Many of our children, including my own, have friends in their classes who are Bosnian, and they have thoughtfully tried to enlighten their classmates creatively. When my son was in 5th grade, the Bosnia-Herzegovina club was started at Bel Air Elementary by a Bosnian parent to both give a space for Bosnian children and to connect the rest of the students to the culture of Bosnia, and not only the war that brought you here.
And it's tempting to paint the picture of the war in Bosnia, the genocide at Srebrenica, and concentration camps throughout Bosnia and Herzegovina with a broad, angry brush. Brutalization of civilians, the sexual assaults of Bosniak women and girls, the mass executions and mass graves of Bosniak men and boys are fury-inducing. Tragically, the inhumanity and immorality planned by Serbian paramilitary and Bosnian Serb military officers was neither the first nor the last reminder of how inhumane inhumanity can be toward itself.
When I first talked to the Borough Council about this project, I spoke about Carlisle's willingness to learn and accept. I pointed to the film screening in October of 2019. A good number of you here today have attended the screening of the trial of Ratko Mladic back in 2019. You got to see the mass graves and what remains of those brutally murdered. You heard trial testimony of those begging for their loved ones' remains to be found. You heard personal accounts of those that spent some part of their childhood trying to stay safe from dropping shells and bullets. Today, this is met with the perpetrators being called heroes. Even though they are convicted of genocide, crimes against humanity, and other war crimes, Serbs hail them as innocent and heroes. Because of them, I never met my grandfather, or my grandmother, or my mother's sister. My grandmother and my aunt were killed together, my aunt at the age of 13. My grandfather, who needed a cane to walk, was killed in Srebrenica. At one point in my life, I thought I had one individual picture of each of them and some stories my parents would tell me. It was the furthest thing from the truth because I realized I had much more than that. I had my parents. They are today what my grandparents envisioned they would become many years ago. They risked everything to come to a place they knew very little about. They taught me what it meant to be a productive member of society, what it means to respect everything around you, how to live in a place where you weren't born but would become a part of, and how to retain your roots far away from home. That place became Carlisle, and Carlisle, I thank you for it. Today is not just about a number or just about Srebrenica. It is about Bosnia and Herzegovina and its people, about the individuals that defended the country, the suffering of its women, the suffering of its children, and the victims of aggression that have been killed because of who they are. Many of you have been wondering why we concluded to observe this day with the greater Carlisle community. Much of what I've told you today shows that there is evil, but also good in this world. We chose to commemorate this day in this manner because we knew that today we would all be championing the good of this world. At this time, I would like the children of the Bosniak Islamic Cultural Center to come up here with me to present the memorial bench.
No. Sitting on it.